All right. Hello, hello, hello. All right, welcome. Our very first live stream, we're going to be talking about proof of weak hands 3D and a little bit about the Bitcoin challenge. So as you come on in, just say hello. Hey, Crypto Intelligence Report. Welcome, welcome. Do I sound okay on your end? Please let me know. This is my first live stream, so I'm kind of a tech idiot on this stuff. We will be getting started here momentarily. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know if my sound is okay. I'm unsure about it. Thank you, Crypto. What are you unsure about? That's awesome. We're going to be getting to here momentarily. We're going to let a few more people hop on the line. And we're going to be talking about proof of weak hands 3D, and I'll cover some basics. I know there's a lot of people that have questions, and quite frankly, a lot of the information out there, I'm oftentimes wondering, why are some of these people even investing in it, to be honest with you? And I am an investor, and the reason I say that, or a player, a game player, whatever, I will agree that it's risky and it's crazy and all that craziness. But sometimes when I hear people say things like, "Oh yeah, I know it's a pyramid scheme, but I'm in it." Well, what are you doing in it? Too many copycats. I said that would dilute the market, and it did. Yeah, totally, absolutely right. Crypto, it absolutely has diluted the market. No question about it. But that's okay. I mean, the reason we can go into that a little bit. Um, it's not bad. I mean, it's kind of good in a way. I mean, it's brought a lot more attention. There's a lot of people that know about proof of weak hands because of the copycats that would have known about it. Um, Versus the copycats are the reason that so many more people are finding out about crypto and the concept of proof of weak hands. However, the copycats, most of them were just trying to make some sort of an investment scheme. They're basically just, or they attempted to just, you know, change some numbers and copy and paste the code. But Proof of Weak Hands has a real developer behind it, and even a couple of different developers, and they've actually got plans. They're trying to take it places, and I think there's some very interesting game theory behind Proof of Weak Hands, and we can get started in that here. Here, let's do this. We'll go ahead and get started. Let's pull this up. Hopefully, your eyes are able to see everything on my screen. By the way, quick update on my crypto tab. Bitcoin challenge, basically. Already got 11,000 Satoshi just in a few days. That's kind of crazy. I can cover more about that later. Here's the thing about Crypto Tab. This thing is just totally passive, running in the background, just running, running, running. All right. Here's one thing I want to talk about proof of weak hands right now. One of the things that I keep hearing is I've heard people who are in proof of weak hands say things like, "Oh yeah, it's it's okay that the market drops because you get divs." Yes, that's correct. You do get divs or dividends or earnings, whatever you want to call them. It's okay that the market dropped, but you know, I'm even or I'm ahead because of my divs. That is absolutely garbage. That is not correct at all. In fact, I've got on my other computer, I have my I'm logged into my MetaMask, and I don't have MetaMask on this computer. But just to let you know, just to give you some real world numbers today, based off of where we're at, let's look at the chart, just so you can get an idea. Some of you may not know this. Just looking at the chart alone, so we went through this. This is a 6-hour chart. And there's some people, and we bounced back a little bit. And there's some people claiming, oh yeah, I'm ahead because of divs. I'm ahead because I held on. Listen, I held on the entire time too. But at the height, my US dollar value, now this takes into account some Ethereum value, and arguably small changes in Ethereum could have had a significant impact on this. But right now, I'm at $502. At the height, that's my account value in US dollar, USDT, US dollar tether. At the height of this thing, I was at right at 550. Now here's where the advantage comes in. It drops way down here. Yes, I got enough dividends to buy. I think it was about 3.5 tokens if you consider my reinvestment yesterday. So I had somewhere around what 87, 86 tokens, and now I'm at like 89.5 tokens, P3D tokens. So yeah, we haven't even gone back up to the halfway mark. If we get back to here, I'm going to be back to even with a lot more upside potential just getting back to the all-time highs here. So the dividends are sweet and they definitely help out if you hold on for sure. But the idea that somehow it's an even tit for tat, that's crazy. The way you lose money in P3D is this goes all the way to zero. Just checking out what we got going on over here. Caribbean crypto getting some proof of weekends in Bitcoin. Okay. Totally Caribbean crypto, totally. So let's go back. Let's go back. Here's what I was watching last night, and I was watching the guy's live stream, and one of the commenters kept saying, "Oh yeah, but this is very fascinating, but it's going to crash and it's not going to work out." How do you know that? Why would you say that? I mean, it's almost as if people assume that one day, it's almost like people assume that one day, suddenly, everyone's going to 100% lose all interest in P3D, and therefore it's gone. Here's the thing about P3D. Yeah, so it's dropping here and it's dropping here. Every price movement up and down, a little bit of dividends are getting paid out. If this thing never goes up again and all it does is move sideways like this right here, guess what? You're still making dividends. You're not getting appreciation in the price of your token, but you're making dividends. You can buy more tokens or you can cash it out. It would literally have to go to zero and stay to zero, or just flatline and never move. I mean, even if you go look at the BitConnect coin, which I haven't looked at it in a while, but if you go look at that thing, I mean, last time I looked at it, it was sitting around $2, and there's still volatility in that market. And that's, by all accounts, most people consider that a dead project, a scam coin. But there's still volatility in it. Listen, I bought into an absolute dead token one time, totally dead. I bought it for like $250. I heard there were some developers going to try to revive it, and the developers never really got behind it. However, I ended up doubling my money on that coin because enough hype and enough people talking back and forth that it just popped up in value. And in fact, I could have 4x my money because my $500, my 250 went almost to 1,000, and I, of course, thinking that wow, this must be real. Someone's getting behind this, and then they didn't. Then it sunk all the way back down to 250. And I'm talking about my total account. And then it popped back up around 500. And I thought, you know what, I'm just getting out. And they were still talking about it. I never followed it after that. But the project is here to stay. The project is a real token on the Ethereum network. And unless some reason people just lose total faith in it altogether, and I mean, they've got to lose total faith for it not to be some sort of a viability, for it not to be viable from just a dividend standpoint. Now, here's what people aren't understanding. A lot of people being short-sighted. The problem with all these clones that came out, proof of bubbles and all this craziness, there's so many problems with those concepts. It's not even funny. But people were basically trying to capitalize on shifting the dividends. And that's all they were trying to do, is just shift the dividends. But when you shift the dividends, you're missing the whole point of this token. This token here is Proof of Weekends has a developer behind it with plans. They're developing another token as well at the same time as, there's basically two development teams, the way I can understand in the Discord, that's working on another token that's going to have a more broad appeal than just people in the quote-unquote crypto space. But at the same time, the tokens are going to be connected. They talked about that, and they haven't said exactly how that's going to be done. I will tell you, though, in the Discord, they're pretty open and transparent. It's one of the best Discord communities I've ever been part of. In the Discord, one of the things they said was they were taking a snapshot of the Ethereum blockchain and of the accounts, and they were going to basically do like an airdrop of the new token based off the current percentage of who owns Proof of Weekends. But and I don't know what that's going to be, and I don't necessarily care yet. The only point is there is active development going on. That, I mean, almost daily there's some sort of minor announcement being mentioned in the Discord, and I would say there's a major announcement coming about every once or twice a week. So it's not like someone just, what all these other people did with these clones is they just copy and pasted the code and they moved around some numbers so they could adjust the amount payout on the dividend. And even that was so dumb on some levels. Because if you were going to make an improvement to this code, the proof of we can's code, if you were going to make an improvement, the improvement that you make is not take the dividend from 10% to 20% or 20 to 25 or 25 to 50. I mean, if 50 is good, why not make it 100%? Because that sounds stupid, right? But guess what? So is 50%, and so is 25%. And quite honestly, I even think a 10% exchange fee is too high. And literally, and here's why. Because the bigger there's several reasons. The bigger the exchange fee is, the less volatility there's going to be, except for these moments like this. Well, you're going to have a bunch of people holding because it's too expensive to sell. They'll hold for a long time, and then when people get scared or someone's actually held on long enough to make some good profit and they decide to sell, then it's going to get super violent. Because those big dividends, they create, it forces people to hold on longer, but when people start selling, then people are oftentimes quicker to sell. Proof of Weekends is proof of this. It was shocking to see how many people sold, and they were not in profits. I mean, none of these people were in profits, and probably they weren't even in profits down here. And yet, I'm certain some of them sold because they somehow thought it was going to go to zero or something. Now, granted, I saw it and I thought, well, I wonder where it's going. And it looks scary. Listen, when you look at this 1 hour chart over here and you see that and you're like, wow, several hours, it just drop. At some point, you're like, huh, it may just keep going. Now, I only went down to about 12,000. And then it popped back up and I got back in somewhere around here, actually. I don't know if it was the top of this candle or somewhere around here. I happened to log in after a few hours and I was like, oh, looks like it's turning around. When I say got in, I meant reinvested dividends. I was just collecting dividends on the way down. Because if nothing else, I guess I had a little bit of dividends. But I reinvested them here. I typically reinvest anytime I have one P3D token. But this was fascinating. I got to tell you, on the dividend side, it was fascinating. Look, I normally get I only got about $500 in my account. By the way, I started that account. My starting balance when I started, I put in, I want to say 160 something, and it ended up being like 139 when everything was said and done with, worth of P3D tokens or worth of Ethereum, 139. And right now, if I was to withdraw it all, I would have 502. So there's definitely been some big gains. But I typically get about one P3D token in about a 24-hour period, give or take. Here's what's crazy. Right here, I got like, in 8 hours, I got like 2.5 tokens. It was crazy. I was like, that is unbelievable. But if you have faith in the project, it doesn't really matter. As soon as it turns around, you just reinvest. But of course, it's still an untested project, so a lot of people don't have faith in the project. However, if you had a 20% or a 30% dividend, people aren't understanding. Okay, Craig Grant's a good example, and I'm not here to discuss the morality of his character, blah blah blah. I'm pretty neutral on that, to be honest with you, very neutral. But here's the thing, that he talks about selling here and getting in here, and people are like, yeah, but that's 20%, and yeah, he made more than 20%, especially because he probably got in way back here. But if he did sell at the top and he bought back into the bottom, he did okay. But I hear a lot of people say mistakenly, yeah, that cost him 20%. No, it didn't. It cost him 30%. If he planned to get back in the whole time, it's gonna cost him 10% more to get back in. So yeah, from here to whenever he got back in, he paid 30% each way. Now it's not 30% of this balance, obviously, but you know what I'm talking about. He paid a 10% fee this way, getting out, selling. He paid a 10% buying, and when he bought back in, he paid another 10% fee. And all that does is give massive dividends. Now, so did he eke out a profit? Maybe. I mean, he claims he did. So therefore, I'll just say that he did. But you imagine how much harder that is if you got a 20% fee or 25% fee. Here's my thing. If they were going to change anything, change it to a 5% fee. Why? It's not the reason exchanges make so much money is because, I mean, real exchanges like stock market exchanges, etc. It's because the spread or the exchange fees are so small, people almost don't feel it. So unless you really look at your account statements, most people have no idea how much they paid in fees because it's almost not perceptible. So when you see, such big fees, I mean, even at a 5% fee, someone buying and selling, you would get a lot more buying and selling. There would be a lot more, and I'm not saying that it should be a 5% fee. I'm just saying that would be the benefit of it. People could get in and out easier. There would be a lot more up and down. People say, oh, there's let's make it a 25% fee because there'll be more dividends. Well, arguably a lower fee would create more dividends because there'd be a lot more in and out. There wouldn't be just straight lines up. So because it would be, again, more cost effective for people to buy in and get out. Therefore, it would create more fees potentially. But here's another thing that I love about this project overall. This is a very interesting model into decentralization. Let's see what you guys are up to over here. I made over 300 div during the sell off. Good job. Almost 3 ETH. Good job. Even if it crashes, the last man is in the winner. That's not exactly true. This is so incorrect. I hear this all the time, Caribbean. I know why you're saying this. That's not correct. And I mean, the last man's not the winner. There's got to be a value to the token. Now, the last man may be the winner if he's been in long enough. That's the key. If he's been in for a long time and he hasn't reinvested all of his ETH back in, he may be a winner. But if you get in today and the value tanks, if I got in today and then the value went to 0, I'm not going to get enough ETH to cover my cost. I am not going to get enough ETH. I mean, people keep claiming that. The math doesn't make any sense on that because it just doesn't make any sense on that. And so I would love to, before someone says that, I'd love to see them put the math to that. And this math isn't easy math because it's variable math. The percentage that you're earning is changing basically with every token going up and down. I got in at $10 in ETH and sold a long time ago. That's awesome, Steve. This doesn't really matter, crypto intelligence. You guys probably see this, but now not enough people are in to make the divs. Not enough people are in to make the divs from selling. Will they rebuy? Don't know. It doesn't really matter whether they rebuy. Meaning, this comes from how quickly are people going to rebuy? Will they ever rebuy, or is it going to, hit the dirt? Arguably, is it going to tank tomorrow, this week? Who knows? I doubt it. There's a big push right now, 20K pump on Tuesday. So there's a big push, there's been some, I shouldn't say a big push. There's been some, I'm actually looking to make an investment on Tuesday as well, just because, be a part of the pump. But there's a big push to, basically make investments on Tuesday. They're saying Tuesday to 20K. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I don't know if enough people are behind it. What I can tell you is it doesn't really matter if the price shoots back up or not. As long as it keeps vacillating, you're going to make money. But people are forgetting the economics behind how this works. So if dividends are low, then people start selling. When people start selling, dividends go up. The people who have faith in the project, who have faith in the future of where it's going, will see that, wow, I'm getting dividends and the price of the token is dropping. Now I get to use these dividends to buy cheaper tokens. And if enough people are doing that, the price goes back up. There's this assumption that somehow people are going to have no interest. I promise you, there are people in there, me being one of them, I'm just a small investor, but the bottom line is this. The money that I have is staying there. If it goes to 0, it goes to 0. I will rebuy tokens with every dividend that I have. Every dividend that I have, I will rebuy tokens. I'm not even worried about pulling anything out. If I get my account to about 10 grand, and my plan is to keep adding to it every month. If I get my account to 10 grand, then I'll consider pulling out a little bit, at least cover what I put in initially and diversify some of my crypto investments. But at this point in time, this is a total speculative play. But the assumption that somehow everybody's going to drop, volume's going to drop, nobody's going to be a part of this again, I mean, that's kind of far-fetched and nearly impossible. All you got to do is go look at CoinMarketCap at the 2,000 projects up there, of which 75% of them are 100% total crap. They might be a good idea, but that's it. So this is way beyond that stage. There's real people paying attention to this. There's real things happening to this. There's real development actually going on. Heck, a development took place for it to get to this point. The original proof of weekends, the current developer was an investor there, basically. And the lead developer previously is part of the development team on the current proof of weekends. I don't think he has a whole lot to do with actual development though. But the current developer, Matos, I mean, he's basically redeveloped the whole thing from the ground up, reprogrammed the entire smart contract, the whole 9 yards. Even without, quote unquote, the serious coin or whatever they're looking at doing. I don't even like when they say the serious coin. I don't know if the development of proof of weekends 3D will take this all the way, or where those will go. But without question, you think about, most people in society don't think about this. What do blue chip dividend stocks do right now? What do blue chip dividend stocks do right now? Well, they're the backbone of insurance companies. They're the backbone of pension plans. And the worst part is the people who manage those pension plans and the people who manage, own the insurance companies like Geico, for example, or any of your insurance companies. Warren Buffett bought Geico. Why? Because there's a huge, massive amount of float sitting there of free money. What does he do with that free money? He invests in the stock market and earns a return. So that's centralization on top of centralization. The stock market is centralized by the banks, the financial institutions. Warren Buffett is a centralized figurehead. He's controlling it. And in theory, the scraps are left for everyone else. Now, in Geico's place, the scraps essentially aren't scraps. They're just there to make certain that the company stays solvent, the insurance company stays solvent. But you think about that for a moment. What do blue chip dividend stocks, what do they serve? Pension plans and insurance companies, and probably the backbone of a lot of banks and financial institutions. Why? Because they produce a very small, like 3% a year, 4% a year, 2% a year. They produce a very small dividend and their stability. But what if there was, a lot more people in proof of weekends 3D or something like this? What if? And what if, I'm not talking about, we'd make a lot of money if we were in it today. Yes, we would, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about the concept of how the earnings work. What if it would decentralize? It would be a decentralized version of like some sort of a pension fund. There's nobody managing it, but you as an individual could be a part of it, and you could supplement either in par or all of your future pension fund or your future retirement with something like this. Because there would be stability. If there was a ton of people there would be stability. No one's taking, like, the financial institutions aren't taking their share of the profits. It's 100% decentralized. So you would see, over time, you would see token growth, but above all that, you're going to see this constant seesaw in the market. Seesaw down, seesaw up, seesaw down, seesaw up, constantly. And now we're way too early for that. But that is a version of that would be a version of some sort of a decentralized retirement plan. It goes a step further, even insurance. I mean, imagine, why couldn't you at some point, if this was bigger, meaning a lot more people were in it, a lot more, because the more people that's in it, the harder it is to crash, the harder it is to spike. I mean, you can't, when you see stuff like this, that's not going to be insurance type quality at all. But imagine if you could today put in a little bit of money, and over time dividends show up and you just keep reinvesting in a single decentralized product or some sort of basket of decentralized products. And you did that. I mean, that could serve for your home insurance. Something happens to your home, you can make repairs with the dividends, or you could sell some of the tokens and use that to make repairs. But when you don't need repairs, it's just there. It's decentralized. Insurance companies aren't making money. More of your money is going to work for you. No one can steal it from you. It's in a smart contract. There's no bank that's too big to fail. So, I mean, you think about that and it's like, wow, there's some real potential here. Now, will our current devs take it that far? I have no idea. I don't know that. I mean, statistically, probably not. But there is something real here. And the longer it goes on, the more real it becomes. I mean, this isn't something when you talk about decentralized spaces. That's why when I hear people like Ivan on Tech and all this stuff, call it a scam. I mean, I just think, God, that's a moronic statement. I'm not calling Ivan on Tech a moron. He's definitely smarter than I am. But that statement makes no sense. He's missing the boat. Everybody's screaming for decentralization. Some sort of concept like this with volatility and with a dividend return is the decentralization that could replace so many interesting parts of our financial system, financial institutions that Bitcoin or Ethereum alone couldn't replace. But I mean, up until now, no one's figured out outside of trading robots, in theory, which are always going to be short term, outside of quote unquote trading robots, there's no way to be able to produce a consistent dividend. Arguably, mining, maybe, but they've got their own downfalls. This could produce the most consistent dividends. And by the way, you're going to have periods of heavy, you're going to have periods of low dividends. But we're talking about, if you're talking about insuring something, or for medical insurance or life insurance or homeowners insurance, I mean, you just think about the application. I just see a huge application for something like this in a decentralized world. So that's not what I meant to do. Yeah, I agree with that, G. Scott. The whole monetary system is a Ponzi, and most people don't realize that. Like, most people don't get that at all. Logged in, new, and good team. Yeah, they're not doing anything, John. I mean, they're not doing anything at all. The whole monetary system is a Ponzi scheme. Most people don't realize that. Like, that sounds good to say, but listen, all you have to do is go YouTube Money is Debt and go look at, there's like a version 2, version 3, and they're all adjustments and all this stuff. Look at the first version. Every middle school child, my kids will watch this. Every middle school child should watch that. It's a very easy explanation of the monetary system. And this is what makes cryptocurrency so incredible, is because it helps break that cycle. I mean, the current cycle we're on isn't ever going to end currently. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. By the way, if you appreciate any of my commentary or what I'm saying, if you disagree with me, you hate it, that's great. I get it. It's not for everyone. But look, if you appreciate what I'm doing, where I'm going, please do me a favor and subscribe to my channel. Follow me. And if you have a YouTube channel, I check out my subscribers. I definitely want to support other YouTubers as well. One thing that I'll talk about while I'm still here. Where's it at? My Bitcoin challenge is going from 0 to 1 full Bitcoin is the goal. This is fascinating. I started this in March. I think it was March, the second week of March, maybe. We'll say first week of March. So we haven't even been going on now for 5 weeks. This is interesting. So I'm getting about 1,000 Satoshi, about every 10 hours. And 1,000 Satoshi is roughly, I want to say it's like 8 cents. So 10,000 Satoshis, 80 cents, right? Here's what's crazy. 1,000 Satoshi at 8 cents. So if currently Bitcoin's roughly, well, right there it is, 7,000. So if Bitcoin goes up to 70,000, that's like earning 80 cents per 1,000 Satoshi. And if Bitcoin ever hits something crazy like 700,000, which I fully believe is possible, then you're talking about earning $8 every 10 hours. And I started doing 0. People are like, why are you messing with this? Listen, first of all, it's because it's totally passive and it's kind of fun and it's fun for the challenge. But I think there's something that people are missing. For me, it's all about hodling. It's hodling Bitcoin. When Bitcoin are selling for 70,000 each, I'm not going to be able to buy as many then. So my whole goal is to buy them now. So it's all about hodling now. Yes, you make investments like things like proof of weak hands. At least I do. Talking about me personally, I make investments in things like proof of weak hands. But at the same time, I also buy Bitcoin and I just hold it. And a certain percentage at some point, proof of weak hands, the earnings off proof of weak hands will go to Ethereum. And I may hold a little Ethereum, but I'm also going to convert that Ethereum back to Bitcoin. I am definitely pro Bitcoin. At this point, I'm basically Bitcoin maximalist, I guess you could say. That is the kingpin in my opinion. Bitcoin's here to stay, in my opinion. So I will continue to, I mean, this is totally passive. It's running all the time. I got 73 referrals, and this is simply this first level here are some of it's people that I personally know in my personal life, and I've got some more of those people that's going to come here because it's simple. I'm like, hey, people are like, what do you know about this Bitcoin? So I'll talk to them just a little bit about Bitcoin. I'll say, hey, I'm going to shoot you something over in your email, and I'll shoot them a link over there. I'm like, hey, click on that, add that add-on to your web browser, and they're like, why? I'm like, to start mining micro Bitcoin for you, basically, instead of explaining what a Satoshi is. Oh, really? Yeah, that's cool. And then they see this number, and they're like, oh, that looks kind of cool. And I'm like, yeah, it's just, fractions of a cent, but it's totally passive. But they're in the game now. It's a great introduction. Um, and then, the more you talk about it, it creates more conversations. People forget about this. They totally forget about it. And then they'll be like, oh my goodness, I got like 15 cents in Bitcoin. That's cool. I didn't even know it was there. The reality is, yeah, it's using electricity and all that sort of thing. But I mean, it's not something that people feel. It's not something that they're aware of. Adding referrals, by the way, my whole goal, if I'm going to complete this challenge, I have to keep adding referrals and get this to continue to grow exponentially. So I have to keep adding referrals. So with that being said, I'm experimenting with things like right now, because I've got to use Satoshis, right? Or do something for free. So literally, I come here and I just surf at night, which is slow as you go. However, I will put a referral link in the description of this video. I will tell you that a couple of my referrals have really helped me out, because you make, I think, 20% or 10% of your referrals clicks. Before I even got my first referral, I had 600 clicks, but when I'm almost at 1,000, when I get 1,000, I'll be able to advertise my own website right here, and it's not showing up right now for some reason. I think it's, oh, there we go. I'll be able to advertise my CryptoTab website right here. However, there is a challenge. I've got to do some research, because when I tried to advertise, I've seen some CryptoTab websites here. When I try to click on them, nothing happens, and I'm wondering if inside this frame here, if there's an issue. I need to email Easy Hits for you and see if there's an issue. There's 1,700 people online right now watching your advertisement, and something like CryptoTab will convert very well compared to any of the other advertisements you'll see here, because there's no they don't have to enter an email address. There's nothing. Like, watch. Okay, if I wanted to, sure it is. If I wanted to come here, I could click here, but then I got to put in my name, first name, last name, email, phone number, click free instant access. And this guy's advertising constantly here. So somebody's at least getting people to enter in their first name, last name, email address, and phone number. Or they wouldn't keep advertising here constantly. So I can tell you, it's far easier to get someone to just click a CryptoTab link than it is to be able to put in their name and phone number and email address. And they just click on the link, and all of a sudden it starts mining for them, and they do absolutely nothing. Boom, it's there, and they're already mining. And this is picking up way fast with referrals. I can tell you that originally I was getting about 800 Satoshi in a 24-hour period. Now I'm getting around 1,000 in a 10-hour period. So it's definitely picking up speed pretty quick. I love the fact that people from all over the world, this is a great way for people from all over the world just to kind of get introduced to crypto, if you will. And again, it's totally passive. I'm messing around with this Bitcoin faucet here. And the only reason I do that, I keep it on my screen like this, so I can see the countdown timer, and I'll keep it right there. And I typically will notice it 4 to 5 times a day, at least, sometimes more. I'll come in here and I'll click on it, and the main reason is to earn Satoshi. So because I've got a couple of areas that I'm gonna test out advertising, and right now I'm not pulling anything out. I'm just using it towards advertising. My goal is, here's the whole goal, to be able to scale this up. And the way you scale it up is to take your Satoshis you're earning, reinvest to get more referrals, so you earn Satoshi faster, reinvest, get more referrals. That's the premise behind it. But I've got to figure out what kind of advertising is going to work. One cool thing about Easy Hits for you, I'm able to run 2 tests simultaneously. Oh, I just got a random prize. What is that? Boom, I got 10 free text impressions. These are text impressions. So I'm going to test out the banners, the text, and these main pages. As long as the main pages will work correctly with the CryptoTab page. And they kind of gamify it, by the way. You get, once you get 25, you get a guaranteed prize of some sort. And the more times you fill those up in a day, I would say I average about 100 clicks in the course of a day. Sometimes, like yesterday, I think I did about 200. But the more that each time you fill up that little present or you get 25 clicks, you get some sort of bonus, and the bonus grows throughout the day. Like eventually, instead of getting 25 or 10 free text credits, you end up getting like 200. All right, and we'll just keep that going. So enough of that. Let's see where we're at. I've seen Zeitgeist. I think Zeitgeist is retarded. I've absolutely seen it. However, I mean, Zeitgeist that thing's way, way, way on the deep end. The Money is Debt. Here's what I like about it, and I recommend this to people all the time. It's so simple. It is so simple. And it's Zeitgeist. It strikes people at the core. I mean, on so many levels, and it basically gets them the doubt that they're a freaking human being. However, the Money is Debt is fascinating. Money as Debt is super fascinating because most people have no idea that the financial system we're living in every day, that how it's set up and how it actually works against them. Most people have no clue. So this is that's what makes Money as Debt so fascinating. When you look at it and you realize, oh wow, this thing kind of works. How come Congress doesn't ever want us to get out of debt? The smartest men in the room can't ever figure out how to get us out of debt. Why is that? And most people think it's just political pandering. They don't even realize, no, the entire system is built in a certain way. And because it's built in a certain way, debt is almost necessary to keep it going. And that's not necessarily, that doesn't have to be from a conspiratorial standpoint. Now, I may believe that there are some conspiratorial roots in it, but you don't have to believe that it has to be some sort of strong conspiracy. All you have to realize is that well-meaning people made mistakes and it's effed us all. I mean, you can believe that once you understand how the system is set up, but most people don't even understand how the system is set up. Once you understand that, then Bitcoin and crypto becomes fascinating right then and there. Bitcoin and crypto, all of a sudden, it's like, wow. Then when you read the news about crypto and you're like, oh, I get it. All of a sudden Goldman Sachs is coming out against it, and then they're for it, and then they're against it, and then you find out, who was it? JP Morgan, not JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon. Jamie Dimon's coming out against it, and then all of a sudden you see that when he says that, their own traders are buying, Bitcoin, and you're like, what in the world's going on? Money as Debt makes a lot of sense all of a sudden. Jamie Dimon cannot have all of his customers running out en masse buying Bitcoin. That is a problem on a grand scale, on a big scale. So crypto's got a lot of uphill battles, no question. No question, it's got a lot of uphill battles, like serious battles. And it's not just from a mass adoption standpoint. It's how do our governments get untangled? That's the challenge. And what's that going to look like? Listen, all these people, myself included, who are like, yay, cryptocurrency, mass adoption. Yeah, you can say, yay, cryptocurrency, mass adoption, and you can say that's where we want to go, that's what we want to do. But if you do that, what you're ultimately doing is you have to understand that what you're ultimately going to do is you're going to create mega hardship on yourself. Because potentially that's a massive, if tomorrow government said we're going to all adopt cryptocurrency, it would create a massive, massive financial collapse. Therefore, they're not going to do that. And when I say financial collapse, I mean business collapse, a massive economic collapse. I don't just mean banking collapse, but of course the banks would go as well. So when people scream mass adoption, I find that most people in this space are just speculating on something and they don't realize what they're talking about. Like it's much, much, much deeper than, mass adoption, I make money. Oh no, if anyone makes money, it's gonna be the people holding Bitcoin, but it's bigger than that. That's why mass adoption's a long ways out, I think. When I say long ways, I mean it could move fast, but 5, 10, 20 years out, because governments are going to fight this first. At some point, governments struggle to stay afloat. I think we're seeing some of that now, but I think they'll continue to tread water for a long time. And then either governments fight for position by who's going to have the biggest crypto account, or it gets a lot worse. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. I think governments are eventually going to start turning on each other, and it's going to be competing for who gets the biggest crypto account. That's just one theory that I have on what could happen. We'll have to wait and see what ultimately does happen. All right. Proof of Weekends 3D will save us from insanity. It's a lot of fun. It's something to do, and it's interesting to watch. Hey, here's the thing, and this is what's crazy. It is the most interesting thing in this space at this current moment. Otherwise, you're just buying and hodling, and I have no problem with buying and hodling. It's just not a lot of fun. It's not exciting, and there's no major advancements in the technical space at this current time. I think it's good though. I think this drop in the market is good because too much attention to Bitcoin was coming too fast. Don't you agree, GE? I mean, just too much attention way too fast. I mean, the attention was outpacing the current technology on what was possible. And then you got governments trying to, well, taxing it and trying to regulate it. And before long, preventing people from being able to buy it. We definitely, I think it's Antoine Anopoulos said that what a weirdo. Anyway, the Antoine Antonopoulos talks about there's not enough on ramps and off ramps. I agree with that 100%. We need more easier ways for people to buy crypto and to get out of crypto. And who knows what will happen and when that will happen. Who knows? But that's where I'm at today. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. I want to talk about proof of weekends. I wanted to get it out there. I think people are missing it. When I hear people call it a pyramid scheme, I'm like, how? Explain that exactly. Because you're missing the mark. By the way, there's a video out there that everybody needs to see. Let's see if I can find it. This guy right here. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Everybody should go watch this video. This is a guy who, this was his very first video ever, and he's only made 2 videos. He got 296 likes. He got 351 subscribers. Can you say YouTube success story right here? You should go watch his video. It's awesome. He breaks down the code in Proof of Weekends. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but here's the last thing they basically said. By the way, this is over an hour where he goes line by line on the code. So that's fascinating. If you haven't seen this, you should watch this whole video. Now he does come out with his next video, and in his next video, one of the things he says is, "I'm not." He goes, he comes back and says, "I'm not trying to say that." Oh, how did that happen? Okay, he comes back and he says, "I'm not trying to say that the contract is how do you say that? I'm not even sure I'm saying it right. He basically says, "I'm not trying to say the contract is he says he still questions the math, but as far as the code based off what the website says, that part is still 100% solid. It is decentralized. There is no way to exit scam. It is backed 100% by Ethereum. So it basically says the code's not just smoke and mirrors. So that part is pretty awesome. All right, so I don't know how to get back to you guys. Let's see. That's not it. Oh well. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed my first live stream ever. Please leave comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, everyone. God bless.